This is Your Health, a podcast of the Integrated Health and Social Services University Network for West Central Montreal.
Hello, I'm Peter Anthony Holder. Welcome to this week's edition of Your Health. On our last program, we shared a little bit of the journey new parents take when bringing a new life into the world. We looked at what happens in the first 48 hours of birth at the hospital. This time around, we take a look at the first 48 hours at home and the role that nurses from the CLSC can play in helping you with that first week of parenthood. Cristiana Anghelescu is an assistant head nurse for the Child, Youth, and Family Program for CLSC Park Extension and Côte des Neiges. Cristiana, a CLSC nurse, will visit the homes of new parents during their first week home. This has been a program going on for quite a while now.
I've been working in the CLSC since 2003, and this is part of our program. It's like a prevention program. It existed even before, but it was done basically to help the first-time parents to help adapt to the arrival of the baby. There's the discharge, or the early discharge, has made this program possible, so the parents can get some support immediately 48 hours postpartum. So what usually happens is that we have what we call is avis de naissance, which is a notification of birth that the hospital sends to us. And usually the nurse, within the first 24 hours of receiving the notification of birth, will call the mom and to see how she's doing and how she's adapting. And normally, what happens is that we'll try to we'll try to visit the mom as soon as possible within the 48 hours to help with the breastfeeding, to help also whether it's a new parent adapting, adjusting to the arrival of the baby. Each CLSC, depending on the area where you're from, some CLSCs visit all the moms, and some CLSCs visit only the first-time moms. So in our area at De La Montagne, we visit everybody. So whether it's your first, second, third, fourth, fifth child, we do offer a visit, unless the parent refuses to receive a visit from the nurse.
And is it only one visit they receive? And if so, during that visit, what's the procedure? What do you go over to the home and do?
Usually it goes according to the needs. Sometimes we might need to go back. Sometimes we might need to go back maybe once, sometimes 2 times, sometimes 3 times, depending basically on the needs. We evaluate to see how the mom is doing, how the baby's doing, how the family, the mom and the dad are coping with the arrival of the new baby. A lot of the times we give a lot of support for breastfeeding. As you might know, we're baby-friendly, CLSC, like Park Extension, CLSC Metro, and CLSC Côte des Neiges. We got accredited in 2012 to be baby-friendly, so we do promote breastfeeding. It's very important to us, and it's very, more than 95% of our clientele are breastfeeding. So we give them a lot of support, and we refer them to the resources necessary. And we also see how they're coping. There's a lot of multicultural, a lot of immigration, and adjusting to the resources here, getting in contact with the CLSC, the groups, the communities. That's one of the roles that the nurses have when they go to their homes. They do a lot of teaching in regards to taking care of the baby, the bath, how to be adjust as a new parent. That's one of the roles. So sometimes we might have to go back because they have a lot of questions in regards to the baby. Sometimes they wonder how come my baby's always crying, am I doing everything that's right? Sometimes it's just reassuring them, that it's normal that babies cry, and we teach them how to respond to their needs. So we do offer that kind of support, and sometimes they might need to be referred to other resources like nursing aid, a home aid, like someone that will come to their house and will help them to do the bath for the baby with them, help them to reinforce their parental abilities, give them some support, for them to rest. Like it's a block of 3 hours that this person can give per week in the first month, so they can help get some rest and adjust to their new role as a parent. So this is certain things that we evaluate where the clients might need a little bit more support.
Now, how about alleviating some fears that are just generally natural when it comes to bringing a baby home? For instance, I know a lot of parents aren't aware of the fact that newborns typically lose about 7% of their body weight in the first few days after birth, and this is normal, but this might freak a parent out.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. Like when we go to their house, we do check, the weight, and we check this to make sure that they don't have jaundice, that their breastfeeding is going well, and we do reassure them if they're losing weight. We do teach them, that we tell them that it's normal that the baby loses weight. We reassure them. We make sure that the breastfeeding is going well, that the transfer of milk is there. We give them support. We often go back to recheck the weight to reassure them that the baby is gaining weight. However, if the baby has jaundice, if they're losing more than 10%, and they present with symptoms that may need to be referred back to the hospital, we will send them back to the hospital. So that's one of our roles, why we go also so early to their houses.
Other things, too, that people might not be aware of, what is regular, what is normal. For instance, how many times a day do you have to change the baby? And if you're changing your baby X amount of times, is that above or below the normal? Are these the kind of things you talk to people about?
Yeah, usually what we do is we do a postnatal evaluation where we go over what is the norm for, for example, a baby that's 2 days old, how many pees, how many poops. Also we go over what is the norm of the hours of sleep for a baby. We go we also talk about sleep safety, not to sleep with the baby in the bed, put the baby on the back. These are we have our standards of care that we discuss with with the parents, and we do reassure them. A lot of them are from multicultural backgrounds, so a lot of the times there's also a conflict with what they've known from their country. So the new things that, for example, putting the baby on the back to sleep, having a bassinet, these are things that are new to the parents, and we have to reinforce them with them. And we also have groups to which we refer them afterwards, after they've given birth. Once the nurse has gone to the house a few times, once a week on Wednesday afternoons, we have groups for parents where they can come and discuss with other parents, and we talk about baby care, and we talk about breastfeeding, massage for baby, different topics that would help them integrate the notions of being a new parent.
I'm reminded of when you go on a flight and they talk about, they give you the quiz at the beginning of the flight about what to do in an emergency. They always say put your own face mask on before you put your face mask on the children. I would assume it's a similar situation here. In order to be a good parent, you've got to take care of yourself as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we do encourage the mom to rest when the baby's resting. Also, what we tell them a lot of the times, the most important thing is think of you and the baby. It's important that mom and baby rest, and the baby breastfeeds, but the mom also needs to eat. So it's important. We try to tell them whenever if they have family or friends or neighbors that could help them, to give them a little bit of hand. That's why when the nurse goes in, she evaluates the resources that this family has to be able to cope with the arrival of the new baby. So if she sees that the family is isolated, that's where we might make a referral for the first month to have a family aid that would go for a block of 3 hours to help them to teach about baby care, baby bath, baby stimulation, to give some rest to the mom. So while the family aid is there, the mom could sleep for 2 hours so she can get some strength. So this is certain things that we might put in place to help the family.
Now, it's going to be a little bit of a while before the baby starts to crawl or to walk. So there's some time before that happens. But when you go and make that visit in the first 24 hours, do you look around the home and help people to decide how to go about baby-proofing their house for when that time does come?
No, and like this is what we usually do, because the family is not in that mode of baby proofing their house. For them, like the newborn is the fact that the baby's crying, the fact that they need to adjust with the breastfeeding, they need to adjust with being a new parent. The priority is not the baby proofing of the house. So what we do is, as they grow, like we invite them to come to our groups. So we have the postnatal group, which is for small babies, and we also have the hand-in-hand group, which is also a group for stimulation 0 to 2 years old. So in those groups, we do talk about safety, baby proofing, because as the babies grow older, then the parents they're thinking as their developmental stages evolve, then they start thinking, oh, I'm going to eventually need to baby-proof my babies, the house for my babies. So in those first 48 hours, that's not the priority. The priority is basically mommy care and baby care. So a lot of the times the mom has also had, if she had a cesarean, it's difficult to move, painkillers, remove, comfort. Also, if she had a vaginal delivery, stitches, it could be quite painful. So also taking care of her, sits baths for the mom. We talk a lot about the mom care and the baby care.
Now, you say initially that you guys make the call to homes where parents have new babies. If for some reason that call hasn't been made or they don't get the information, someone hearing this right now who is about to give birth and is wondering if they're going to get a call or not, if they don't get a call, is there a number they can call for this service?
They could always call the CLSE. So depending, if you live in Park Extension, they could always call at the CLSE Park Extension, and they could ask to speak with me, and I will call them back, and I will see how come they didn't get a phone call from the nurse. If it's for CLSE Metro, they could call my equivalent, which is Roselyne Drouin. She's the assistant head nurse at CLSE Metro, and at CLSE Côte de Neige, it would be Anna Tazian. So they would have to call the number from their CLSE and ask to speak to the assistant head nurse, and then we will look into it. How come sometimes it's possible that the hospital didn't send us the notification of birth, which is the avis de naissance. But normally everybody they have an avis de naissance that is sent to us.
That's Cristiana Anghelescu, the assistant head nurse for the Child, Youth and Family Program for CLSE Park Extension and Côte de Neige. It was a follow-up to our last program that featured information concerning a baby's first 48 hours in the hospital. And that's it for this edition of Your Health. Again, we remind you, if you missed any of our previous programs, you can find them archived on our website at podcast.ciuswestcentral.ca. That's podcast.ciuswestcentral.ca. You'll find there all the information such as links or phone numbers that we've mentioned in the show. Also, feel free to drop us a line if there is a topic or area of discussion that you'd like us to explore on future shows. I'm Peter Anthony Holder. Thanks for joining us.
You've been listening to Your Health, a podcast of the Integrated Health and Social Services University Network for West Central Montreal. Join us next week for another edition of Your Health.